Gear Tasting Radio is brought to you by Imminent Threat Solutions. ITS provides knowledge that empowers individuals with indispensable skill sets to explore the world and prevail against all threats. Right now, as a special thank you for all podcast listeners, we're offering 10% off in the ITS store. Simply use the code GTR to save 10% at store.itstactical.com. Welcome to Gear Tasting Radio, where we offer an in-depth look into the usage and philosophy behind the equipment in our lives. I am joined by Rob Henderson.
Hello.
And I'm Brian Black. And today we are going to talk about the philosophy in what I just said. So we do try to gear this show towards the philosophy behind the equipment in our lives, and I feel that this is a good chance to really explore that philosophy and without going down the religion rabbit hole or anything like that. So, I subscribe to Stoicism, and I've really been trying to get into that for the past year to a year and a half now. Mm-hmm. It's something that I know you've been working towards too, right?
I didn't know it, but I was a Stoic and I didn't know it.
Dude, that needs to be a tattoo.
Yeah.
I feel the same way. I've always subscribed to the whole everything happens for a reason.
Sure.
And I've always been a strong believer in that, but I've never really known why. I could never back it up philosophically, and it wasn't until I found Stoicism when I was like, oh, holy shit, hey, there's an actual philosophy behind
for this.
Hey, I got my Stoic tattoo. I'm now in the club now.
There you go.
No, but I've been starting to read a bunch of books on Stoicism, and I've subscribe to this newsletter that's called the Daily Stoic. I really love it. It puts an email into my inbox every morning with a different aspect of Stoic philosophy. And I cannot remember for the life of me the guy's name who writes the newsletters every day. But it comes from the website, the Daily Stoic. So if you're interested, check it out. I really enjoy them. Some of them are more impactful than other days, just like any writing would be.
Yeah, I think especially if you do 365 days a year, some of them are going to hit, some of them are going to miss.
But I do feel, though, that it really is applicable to each person. So, meaning I may take more from a day of, that message than another person would. So, I really enjoy it. I think it's cool. Some of the books that I have been checking out were recommended to me by another friend that's into Stoicism. So the first is Seneca, Letters from a Stoic. And I got all these on Amazon for super cheap. I don't think I paid more than I didn't pay more than $8 for the Seneca book. I probably, the other Marcus Aurelius Meditations book, I probably paid $3 for, and same with the Epictetus.
I was going to say the great part about Stoic writings is they were all pretty much finished up in the Greek and Roman times, so they're pretty readily available.
Well, so the thing is, too, I think it's all public domain. Yeah. So it's,
anybody
while
can print
people
them.
publish books, I don't think anyone owns the copyright on these writings.
Having a book, though, is nice.
Or I think if they were copyrighted, it's all gone now.
Copyright Marcus Aurelius, 600 BC.
Yeah. Obviously, there's copyrights on books, but I don't know how that
I think
works.
it's probably like the collection and the photos.
Yeah.
On that, yeah.
So Letters from a Stoic is a really good book, and that's one I'm still reading through. I've read Marcus Aurelius's Meditations book. It's a really good one.
Now, that's the one that was not intended to be a book, right?
Correct.
It's just thoughts to himself?
Yes.
Yeah.
So he subscribes to the whole morning reflection and nighttime reflection. If I have that right, I'm pretty sure. But he would journal quite a bit, and that's what a lot of his writings come from, is the journaling that he did. So yeah, Meditations was more his personal diary or journal to himself that got published. But he's got such great words of wisdom in it that it makes a really good read. And then this other one, which I had to look up the pronunciation for because I've got it on a little post-it right here.
These Greeks and Romans, man.
It's a weird spelling. It's Epictetus, which to me sounds like Epictetus, but I was
Epictetus.
I was like, that can't be right, but it is. Epictetus.
Epictetus?
Yeah, and then the title is called Enchiridion. Enchiridion. Yeah, no, it's Enchiridion. Something like that. Enchiridion.
Yeah. Okay, that makes sense.
Enchiridion, yeah.
Cool.
But anyway, great books. So if you're looking for some books to kind of go over Stoic philosophy, I would look at that. There's also a really good Tim Ferriss article from many years ago where he talked about Stoicism, and he's got Ryan Holiday, which I don't know if that's the guy from Daily Stoic or not. But anyway, I know he's written some Stoic books too, Ryan Holiday has. And he used to be, I think, the marketing guy for American Apparel or something like that.
Oh, okay.
But anyway, the philosophy
I was going to
is...
say we should probably jump in.
Yeah,
like,
yeah.
what it is.
Yeah, so I mean, the philosophy really comes down to what I feel are some major tenets of the philosophy, which is, like I said, the whole everything happening for a reason is one of, in a roundabout way, it's one of the tenets, but a lot of it is really just trying to ensure that you're being the best person you can be through kind of philosophical affirmations to yourself throughout the day. So, and that's a good way I like to look at it too, is that, I take a lot of what the Stoics have written, because they themselves did not feel they were perfect individuals. They were always striving to work on what they were doing, which I like that about this philosophy. It's not as though, like, we are holier than thou, and we're going to tell you exactly how to live because that's the righteous way to live. Like, it's not about righteousness, and I like that about the philosophy. So, I mean, how would you describe it if you were going to describe it?
I think the shortest elevator pitch I could get together would be like perception is reality, in that you kind of, your perception affects your reality.
Yep.
In that you consciously make decisions about your output. You don't get to choose what's input to you. You don't get to choose how people treat you or how what someone says to you.
You can only control your reaction to it.
And so it's understanding that your reaction can always be gained for you. No matter what happens to you. Everybody always asks that question. He's like, what's the one thing you regret? It's like, well, I don't really believe in regrets, because like everything you did made you who you are right now.
Yeah, I think there's a great quote that comes from that too. It's like you're a direct reflection of the choices you've made in life.
Yeah, absolutely.
It's like if you look at each person, they are a living embodiment of the choices they've made in life thus far. Whether good or bad, it's who you are. So,
and I think it's like a lot of people view Stoicism or somebody that is Stoic as very like cold or non-reactionary.
Because that's the way you describe someone like that. You use the word stoic. Yeah,
but it's not correct, because I mean, some people are emotionless. That's just how people are. But like for the most part, when I receive information, I'm just processing, and it's not anything that I don't have feelings. It's that I'm just thinking about what's happened so that I can react appropriately. It's not necessarily like just reacting.
Like my mom. My mom goes,
yes, exactly.
You give my mom some news, she's like, oh my God.
I'm not a big gasper. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, my mom's a gasper.
Right.
But
I think I would gasp if somebody was like, aliens have landed or something that I can't perceive as like a thing that could happen.
Yeah.
But
well,
like,
when the Hawaii missile thing just happened, Kelly told me about it, and I was like, what? So I did have kind of a verbal reaction.
Well, see, there you go. And so that's, you're not emotionless. It's just,
I was in disbelief,
yes,
I guess.
There we go.
And then I learned it was a whatever you call it, the false alarm.
Glitch.
So, yeah, a glitch in the Matrix.
But yeah, that's how I would
so
round it up.
What I kind of put together that I wanted to go over today in talking about Stoicism was kind of 12 different tenets, if you will, that I feel like are a really good explanation of Stoicism. I think it'll really help kind of explain the philosophy as a whole without going too far down the rabbit hole. It's basically just a small explanation of each of these 12 things. And these come from one of the emails I received in the Daily Stoic newsletter, and I thought it was a really, really good description of some of the tenets. And I've been talking with Kelly on and off about Stoicism, and she always asks me about these things. And this was an email I forwarded to her. I was like, hey, this is a great explanation of some of these things. Take a look at it. So I've tried to kind of write them up here on the board because I'm going to read them off. But I've made my own little notes, and I wanted to add some quotes along the way that I found from different Stoics that, and even some people that don't call themselves Stoics, that I think made sense too. So just kind of going in order. The first is clarity. So it's basically like we were talking about, separating what you can control from what you can't control. So that's how you really get clarity in life, according to Stoic philosophy. It's not activity that disrupts people. It's just false conceptions of the things that drive them mad. So
yeah, absolutely.
I really thought that was good too, and that comes from Seneca. that little last bit about, it's not activity that drives people, disrupts people, but false conceptions of things that drive them mad. So meaning it's the things that are, it's basically like, it's kind of the gift of fear. That's the way I look at that. So if you've ever read Gift of Fear, it's a really good look at not letting your fear control the way you feel. So it's getting in control of that, but it's also learning to trust the fear when you have it, because real fear is a gift, and you need to listen to it when it's there.
Yeah.
Not listen to that little voice in your head going, what if this? Well, what if that? Well, what if this? What if I walk down the dark
You get stuck in a mind loop.
Right, exactly. And that's kind of what I equate this first tenet of clarity to.
Yeah.
So the next is equanimity. So I don't really know how to pronounce that, but I'm going to say
Something
it anyway.
to do with horses.
Yeah, it's an equine
Yeah.
type manatee. But it's calmness. It's cool under pressure, and coolness under pressure shows strength, and that's really what that's about. If you can, if you look at some of the people that you respect because of their inner strength, you would find someone that was calm in the face of calamity, really. So
Yeah, and I would bet that calmness comes from experience.
Yeah, of
and
course.
I think that's one of the
agree
big
with
things
that
about
too.
Stoicism is learning from adversity. Like, oh, this happened. Okay, well, let's learn from it.
Well, I mean, and not to tie this back into military stuff at all, but in going through the 2/3 of buds that I did go through in Hell Week, it's the 90% mental game that you had to overcome there.
Yeah.
It's while you think it's physical, and everybody looks at SEAL training as like, oh my God, you got to be in such awesome shape. You do, but the amount that is equated to as a percentage is really only 10% of what it takes to get through that kind of training, especially something like Hell Week where you're up for 5+ days with no sleep. So
like you're your own worst enemy.
yeah, you really are, and you can't self-defeat yourself because that's really what you have to overcome and stuff like that. So I mean, that's really where that kind of ties in my opinion.
Yeah.
Next is awareness. So knowing yourself, which knowing thyself is what the oracle at Delphi dictated. But knowing your strengths and weaknesses, and really the essence of knowing strengths and weaknesses, the flip side of that is ignoring one of those is ego. So when you find someone with a big ego, it's ignoring. They're acting out because of some deficiency in a strength, or they've got some weakness that they're trying to overcome. So that's the way I look at ego when I see
It's
it.
like compensating for
Yeah.
a lack.
Or it's driving a big truck or something. Sorry. Next
Apologies
is
to the jacked up truck fans.
next is and I used to drive one. Anyway, unbiased thought is the next one. So objective judgment, and really not being driven by your delusions. So same type of deal.
Yeah.
You're really trying to ensure that you are not you're not creating your own bias. What's that Steve Jobs thing? It's creating your own. He
Reality
created his
distortion
own
field.
reality distortion field. Right? Yeah.
I need this done by this.
Yeah.
Well, we can't do that. You misheard me. I need this done by this. You can do it. Just keep going.
There is a very good place for that stuff.
Sure.
However, next is right action. So it's not talking about being a good man; it's being one. So if you have this conception of how you want to be, how are you going to get there? What are you going to do to ensure that you're living up to that virtue that you're trying to hold yourself to?
I think that ties back to the resolutions talk that we had a couple episodes
Right,
ago, where it's
right.
like, don't just talk about it; just start doing it.
Yeah.
Talk is cheap.
Yeah,
Just
and
jump
then
in.
and really those thoughts that you have in line with where you're trying to be will get you there. That's that's the action step. That's the GTD tenet we talk about all the time. It's what's the next action? What am I going to do to propel myself towards that end goal?
Yep.
And that's really what I want to focus on with Stoicism too, and why I keep coming back to it as a philosophy that I'm trying to learn more about and hold myself to, is that it really takes that imperfect person and allows them to still be imperfect and grow with experience.
Yeah.
So anyway, next is problem solving. So, making progress where you can. Life's not easy. You should look at problems as opportunity,
You're going to have a lot more problems than solutions.
Exactly. Yeah, and that's where my Jerry Seinfeld quote comes in too, because I was watching that Comedians in Cars Getting Coffee show, which is hilarious. I've never watched it before, and Kelly and I are just binging the hell out of it. Yeah. It's great. But he had this great quote from an episode we watched the other night, and he said, pain is knowledge rushing in to fill the void. So when you have pain, or when you find something that's a painful process, it's because you don't know about it. You know, you lack the knowledge of that. But guess what? Now that you've been through it, you have that knowledge, and now that you have the knowledge, there's your gap filler. You know, so I really like that quote. And then duty. You know, so what are you bound to? Is it country? Is it family? Is it the bathroom? What? I know you can't stop laughing with that.
I can't do it.
Duty. But yeah, are you doing yours? Are you doing your duty?
Yeah, I think that's a big one, is kind of like when you talk about philosophy, that's one of the tenets to me that I think that, like, of the whole list, that's the only one where I'm like almost intimidated to be like, well, okay, I guess I'll talk about that. You know, like, I don't know what.
It's because you can't say the word without laughing.
Yeah, but also like that, you know, it doesn't have to necessarily mean that your purpose will be above and beyond. You know, there's merits in living a good life, no matter what you do with it. You know, as long as it's good.
I do feel that everyone needs a purpose in life. You know, and I feel like those that fall off of that, or let their purpose, you know, be for somebody else, are really missing out on a large portion of life, because you're not really living for yourself.
True.
You know? And that's
very true.
I've always tried to do that with myself too. It's, you know, I don't live for somebody else. I live for myself, and I live for my purpose that I feel like I have in life. So, you know, and everybody needs something to get behind, you know, and live for and to work for, because if you're doing something that you don't enjoy and you're doing it for the wrong reasons, you know, what are you really living for? So anyway. And then pragmatism is the next one. So, you know, Stoics are idealists, but they're also practical, which seems like an oxymoron. But really, it's trying to work towards the perfection of idealism, but still being flexible enough to be, you know, pragmatic in what you're trying to achieve. So that's that one. Then resiliency, meaning let come what may. You know, you're still prepared. So you're ready for what could happen, and you're open to whatever might come your way. However, you still trained and prepared. So, you know, I really like the quote, you know, we don't rise to the level of our expectations, we follow the level of our training. Yeah. And that was actually from what, a Greek, well, we looked that up, and it was a Greek.
Yeah, it was a lyrical poet.
Yeah.
So those are like song lyrics.
Yeah. Yeah, his name is Archilochus. Hercules. Yeah. Anyway, kindness. So be kind to yourself and understanding of others. You know, nothing can stop you from being virtuous. That's really on you.
Yeah.
So
I think this is where this ties into what, like, a stoic person. A lot of times those people are not kind. You know, you can still be a good person. You can be nice, and you can be open and kind, but also have, you know, stoic philosophies. You don't have to be mean to everybody.
It's like the be nice to everyone you meet, but
have a plan to kill them. Yeah, exactly. Yes.
All right, so next is amor fati, if I'm saying that right. Don't accept what happens, love it. So we kind of talked a little bit about that in the beginning, kind of embracing what your obstacles are in front of you, and you know, using them as fuel for your fire.
Sure.
You know, and that goes back to the everything happens for a reason thing that I was talking about. And even really comes down to to one of my favorite quotes. This seems a little harsh, but it's, you know, let the bridges I burn light my way. Yeah. So I don't know. I feel like that quote, even though it sounds a little crass, it still kind of embodies that spirit of, like, hey, I am who I am because of my actions, and I'm just going to embrace it and, you know, do my best to grow as a human being and learn from my mistakes.
Yeah, so, absolutely.
And then another quote that I really like from Mark Aurelius. I like how you put that up there. There's nowhere that a person can find a more peaceful and trouble-free retreat than his own mind. So constantly give yourself this retreat and renew yourself. I really like that quote.
I do too. I like it.
Yeah, because it allows you to really think about delving into your own mind and finding peace and calmness within yourself. And I really like that because I feel like I find that whenever I go for a hike or something and I'm out in nature, I really kind of, that's the moment for me that I can really kind of reflect or inflect on my own thoughts and really kind of find that calmness that I don't find from the day to day.
Sure.
Because I've tried sitting around and, you know, doing some type of meditation, and I don't ever feel relaxed because of it.
You're like tense meditating.
Yeah, I don't know if I'm doing it wrong. I'm probably doing it wrong. Yeah. Don't breathe so heavy.
Yeah.
But there is an app that I found. I think it's called Oak. I think it's an app that Kevin Rose is behind.
Okay.
But it's got meditation stuff in it, and it's also got breathing exercises. And I've tried some of that, but I still just haven't found what is working for me yet.
Yeah.
And I find that just getting out into nature is the best thing that I've found yet. So anyway.
We got one more tenant.
Oh, we do?
Yeah.
What did I miss?
The last one.
The whole death thing. Yeah, memento mori, which is you will die. That's really what it means in Latin, I believe. But really, we're mortal. And it comes down to the whole carpe diem, seize the day, you know, carpe the diem, and all that good jazz. But, you know, there's a cynical quote, too, that I have written up there. It's prepare your minds as though you've come to the very end of life. And I like that, you know.
That's very fitting with the Hawaii thing having just happened. I think a lot of that,
yeah.
you know, that. But I mean, I think that's a great example of like you're not in control of that kind of stuff. So, you know, you have to just, you make your peace where you can. And
yeah. Well, and it's also, it really is trying to live each day at the fullest, and we're all guilty of that.
Sure.
Either we're not stopping to smell the roses, or we're just moving from one thing to the next without really focusing on what we're doing. And, you know, in a large part, a lot of us work a very large portion of our lives away.
Sure.
And that's just, it is what it is. But it's trying to find moments of reflection in those days and trying to find things like that to work on. And I feel like focusing on a list like this and the different tenets of Stoicism kind of helped me along the way. So the way that I've kind of grown since I found Stoicism is that it's not like I don't get pissed off anymore. I still get pissed off. Like I would love to get to the point where I'm literally just super
like
calm.
zen. Yeah.
But it's going to take me a long time to get there. I've already gotten better and I've felt
Sure.
it. So I can recover a lot quicker than I used to because I'm focused more on my reaction. And even though sometimes my reaction gets the best at me, I will catch myself doing it. Before it was just like I would hang on to it and it'd be there all day and I would reflect and be like, yeah, that guy that cut me off. Yeah. But now I might react the wrong way or different than I would have liked, but I'm faster to rebound and catch myself and be like, it is what it is.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
So what is the most like stoic thing you do during a day, would you say? Because there's a lot of like meditations and like list making.
I would say
or whatever.
morning reflection.
Yeah.
That's probably one of the most stoic things that I do. And it's also trying to, I think the other thing, if I had to put a number 2, it's also, like I just said, trying to reflect more right after the fact. So meaning I know I just did something that I don't want to have had the reaction I just had.
Yep.
Let me reflect on that, and I'm going to continue to learn from it and make it better the next time. So,
Sure.
You know, and I think I'm also quicker to pause before replying to somebody. Like I would always just try to get a word in a lot, and I found myself just taking a pause more and, you know, I'm going to think about this for a second before I reply. Okay, now I've got my response.
Gather myself.
Yeah, and I think that's kind of a stoic part of the philosophy too. How about you?
So I started this thing and only a few days ago, but it's helped tremendously. I have this big legal pad on my desk at home, and I just have task lists written at the top.
Yeah.
And I've just started writing stuff I want to do, and I've made myself make a category to the left of why I haven't done the thing. So basically, it's either time, money, motivation, and like 85% of the tasks on there are motivation. And so it's like, okay, let's start identifying like, why are you not motivated to do this thing? You know, what can we do to, I think it's kind of like know thyself, you know, that tenet that we talked about is like, I know that I don't have the motivation to do this thing. So like I have like house projects that I've been carrying along for years And it
Yeah.
turns out, like, why are you not doing this? Is it because you don't have the time? It's not. Like, look at your time. You know, you watch Netflix for 6 hours on, Saturdays. So
Yes.
it's like, what's going on and how can we combat that? Otherwise, like, I'm taking it off the list. Like,
Yeah.
there's no reason to have it there if you're not going to do it.
I hate myself when I have to take something off my list. I really freak out
Yep.
about it.
Just like,
Because I'm just like, I'm never going to, okay, and
Yeah.
I delete it, and I'm just like, it's gone. But, the good thing about OmniFocus is you can always find your deleted stuff.
yeah,
So-
exactly. You can bring it back from the dead.
Yeah. No, I mean, I have plenty of things like that, too, and I'm very
Yeah.
guilty of that. I like that thing that you're doing.
It just helps you be real with yourself. And it's only for me. It's
Yeah,
not like a
yeah.
public list or anything,
Yeah.
but like, what you're doing. And that's when you were talking about meditation and stuff, like, you're yourself when you're alone.
Yeah.
Like, you just know yourself. So, like, if you're not putting it down, you know you're not putting it
Yeah.
down.
I'm very guilty of clearing my mind of things that I have to do, and then this is obviously getting back into the GTD philosophy, the getting things done thing, but I don't come back to develop them properly and fully and review them on a regular basis. So I'm still struggling with that. I mean, I've been trying to practice GTD for 10 plus years, maybe 15 years now, but I still can't get my ass in gear when it comes to that stuff.
I tell people
So,
that's the hardest thing about GTD when they get started and they talk is like, it's the review.
Yep.
It's coming back to the stuff.
And it's making sure you don't lose track of things that need to be done on a specific time. So I will find myself processing those things quicker because I know there's in a specific day I need to do those things on. They do usually wind up on the calendar and get done.
Yeah.
And
I've extended my 2-minute rule to my 5-minute rule. So if
What's that? Oh,
2
yeah.
minutes, do it now. If it's 5 minutes, I'll do it now.
Yeah.
And so I'm just going to keep kind of like increasing that until I can get some
It would
stuff
probably
knocked
cut
out.
down on motivation or issues. Or,
I think it's not a lot of little stuff stacking up. And
Yeah.
so that helps to kind of like reflect. But like you were saying, in that time that I'm making that list, I'm really just reflecting on myself. It's not necessarily that like I'm just a taskmaster. It's just literally writing something down and looking at it and making it real and like, okay, why are you not making this happen?
I was really proud of myself. Just, I guess it was Sunday, like yesterday. We were at Sam's returning something that Kelly had to take back, and I saw a little sign there that said passport photos. Like, oh yeah, our passports are expired. I need to go get passport. And like, I was super proud of myself for actually remembering that we needed passport photos when I was somewhere where I could take passport photos. Because I've been literally trying to do that for 2 months now.
Small victories.
Yeah. But, however, I did, follow my own advice in my passport article, and I have passport cards now.
Nice.
And I got them at a different time than my renewal, so I technically have a valid passport.
Oh,
right
cool.
now. It's just not the book.
Nice.
The book is what expired, and I have to pay $110 to get a new one. Anyway, yeah. I thought that was somewhat poignant, but anyway, that is Stoicism as a whole. Hopefully, people got something out of this. Hopefully, you at home got something out of this.
Good listener.
Yeah. So thanks for listening to Gear Tasting Radio. Remember, if you have questions, use the pound tag Gear Tasting on any social media network, and we'll find them and get them answered here in our next round of questions, or we'll get them answered on our Gear Tasting video show on YouTube. Be sure to subscribe on Apple Podcasts so you'll be the first to know when we release a fresh episode each Tuesday. Tuesday? Yes, it's Tuesday.
Yeah.
And also, when you're on iTunes, we would love it if you would go ahead and leave us a review. Hopefully, it's a 5-star review. If it's not, let us know why. We love feedback. We learn from it. Part of our philosophy and tenets here at ITS. So
We'd like to reflect on it.
we would like to reflect on your feedback and, let us know. Last but not least, check out our Patreon page, patreon.com/ITS Tactical. We've got some goodies to give you back in return for your support, and we would love your support there. And thanks for listening, and see you next week.